Hello Reds, welcome along to All for United.
Hello and welcome to All for United with me, John Foster, MUFC. Got a packed house tonight from all over the world. Joining us is, as always, Natalie. How you doing, mate?
Hiya, John. Doing good. Looking forward to it.
It looks nice and sunny behind you, Natalie. It looks good up there. It's raining where I am.
Oh, we had torrential rain about 12 o'clock, but now we've got the sun. It beats the hailstones. I know me and Yehuda were talking about it. It beats the hailstones that you all saw at versus Man City. That was mad. I'd never seen anything like it in May up here. We love the rain, that's what I will say, but never the hailstones in May.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yehuda, you were saying how hot it is where you are in Israel.
Natalie's sun is just an illusion.
It is.
What temperatures is it over there, Yehuda?
During the day it was 29, 30. So,
Nice.
yeah, and very humid, so not fun.
Rahul, rather nice of you to join us again. Thank you. What's it like in India, weather-wise?
The place where I live, it's also very hot. It's like Israel. It's 29, 30, 31 during the day, so pretty hot, yeah.
Yeah, over here it's about 35, 36 actually. It's dry and dusty, and it seems it's going to be rising from here. But yeah, quite hot.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Quite a variety today. So obviously it's the Everton preview. So it's our last WSL game of the season this Sunday. Not much for United to play for, but for City fans and for Chelsea fans, you've still got something to go for there. So it'll be interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on how that's going to go. Casey Stone has been talking today, got some cracking quotes from some questions that Emma Sanders has been asking. So, Natalie, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. I also want to hear Rada's thoughts on the LJ rumour, from United to Chelsea. So, we'll touch on that a little bit. So much to talk about, transfers going out. Obviously, that was spoken about a little bit throughout the week. And what Casey says today has kind of hinted or not hinted what's going on. So, yeah, lots to discuss, but also, more importantly, I thought I would get 3 guests on who live outside of England just to kind of see how it's been supporting English clubs this year. Obviously, it's been tough in England with COVID, but obviously it's been even more different and difficult this season. So, let's make a start. Natalie, last game of the season, not including the FA Cup. What's your thoughts on this season now it's come to an end, whether it be without fans and with everything else that's going on?
Well, without fans, it's not really felt real, I think. Everything that's gone on throughout it, we understand the reasons why fans can't be there, but I think, we like to play our part, and it's just not, for me, been the same fully. How it's gone, I think probably the last time we had Rada and Rahul, it was just before the Chelsea game. We were all talking about that, and then I think the week before that, and then we had one game. I don't think Rahul came on, but it was with Emma from the City women's, and I sort of said it can either go one or two ways. It's either going to go up, or we're going to be, aiming for the stars, or we're just going to think, oh, we are where we are. I know it's gone the way that we've not wanted. We're upset, disappointed. Casey's saying failure. I know people say that's a bit strong, but I do agree with her. We should have done a lot better. We can go over it, the games that we should have won, and we should be winning no matter what. Brighton, Reading, these games, man, even if you've got the injuries, you should be winning. You should be putting more into it. I'm happy. No matter how bad it was versus Bristol, we still grinded out the result, which, it's nothing to be happy about, but at least, we played badly, but we got our 3 points, and that's what matters. And now I just think win this game, let a marker down. I don't know who's going to play, but, you know, I know they're always up for Everton. You know, keep that momentum going when we play them. And then, like, obviously the FA Cup, and then going to win the FA Cup for me is a must now. But yeah, let everyone else have their thoughts as well.
Yeah, I'll bring Ryder in next, but just touching on the point that you said there, Nat, I think we need to do a separate show about the word failure and progression, and you know exactly just try and get some sort of. I'm sure if a few of us just talk for an hour non-stop about that, I think we might come to some sort of answer at the end of it, and it's going to be a tough conversation, but I think it's one that needs to be addressed at the end of the season, definitely. Ryder, obviously we'll talk a little bit about Chelsea, but before we do, your thoughts on United? Obviously, it's kind of fizzled away from us. Chelsea fans, obviously, you were probably happy to see us drop down a little bit, but did you think that we were going to drop out of the top three?
I mean, I came on here in December, I think, and you guys were top of the table, and we were discussing what kind of a run United have had and what kind of boost they had at the start of the season, and all credit to them. It's not like someone gave them this boost. It was them who worked for it, who grinded out results. The first match I remember was versus Chelsea. They ground out a draw there, and that really set up this entire run for United. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame to see them drop down below the third rank, especially because I don't think Arsenal have been playing that well, or the Arsenal that you know. So United, I would just love to see them firstly knock out Arsenal and get that Champions League spot. And from the position they were to the position they've now reached, I think it's, as Casey said, that I don't deserve that manager of the season nomination, because ultimately you have to manage that position better. You have to agree, in December, some teams had games in hand, but you just look at the points. Look at the points on the table and you look at your next match and you say, hey, we have to win this match. I think it's as simple as that. And again, it shows the unpredictability of this league, that teams that were defeating United, who were in red-hot form, that in a different conversation is great, that there is so much competitiveness. But for United and for United fans, it's such a shame that they've missed out. Also, a lot of injuries have impacted them. So really, I'm feeling really bad. Although I'm a Chelsea fan, I would have loved to see United there. I think I said this in December as well. Great team, great squad, great potential. And, I'm sure you would have got a lot of, possibly, potentially, a lot of contract extensions if you had made it to the Champions League, which is a point that, Arsenal are now a little bit relieved about, that maybe some people will stay back because they're making it to the Champions League. That's another bummer right there.
I think that's another way to look at it. Not only is it going to be difficult for us next season or this summer to get players in, but we've now made it easier for the likes of Arsenal and City, and Chelsea was always going to get in the top three, I thought, but maybe at the start of the season, City was, they weren't doing great. And that's another way to look at it, isn't it? That's the fact that all of a sudden now we've made our own life doubly hard because we've made other teams' lives easier, I guess, when it comes to the transfer window.
Yeah, and I see her in there, Emma. Just name dropped her when she was on. Welcome evening. Like for example, the one that we're hearing linked, Bunny Shaw. We had Simon Preston, a Jamaican journalist, come on this show saying that we were scouting her, saying that he knew that two United coaches have gone, but obviously she wanted Champions League, so it depended where United were. Boom, we've not got it. Now City are getting her, and that's it. She wants to come England. She wants to play Champions League. She wants to test herself against the best in the world. But he was confident it was going to be United because I think, not in a horrible way, she would have been more the starter at United, I think, not compared to City. I mean, I think she's still going to be a starter at City. I think she's a great player. But, it would have been like bang statement, and like you said, like Rada just said about the contracts. I know we're going to get onto it because it was talked about. But yeah, that's what I said in these shows. It's either one way or the other, left or right. Which way do you want to turn? Your destiny's in your own hand, and yeah, we've turned the wrong way. It's not over. The journey's just started. Let's do a U-turn and go back the other way, But like you said, I think it has to be done this summer now. Like there's no kind of that last year wasn't. We've had a full year. We've had a year and a half. Everyone knows this league. Everyone knows what to expect.
Yeah.
But there's no excuse now. So if it's fourth again, if we're saying this again, it's a different conversation that we're having, John. Totally.
I think I'll just be... Have you seen this message here? I think I've just seen Toonie.
Hey, shout out, Toonie's on fire. Your defense is terrified. Tootie
Get
is
your
on
phone out,
fire.
Emma. Show us.
Yeah. Go on, Tootie.
I just want to stick with Chelsea just a little bit longer, just so I don't forget what I wanted to say. So, first of all, Ryder, how do you think your season's going to end? Obviously, like with Champions League, finishing top of the league, and also the rumours on LJ. Let's start off with that as well. So, plenty to discuss there, Ryder.
Yeah, starting off with LJ, obviously I've just heard rumors and everything that's been flying around on Twitter. News is that she wants to come back to London, and obviously we've seen her already come back to Instagram and whatnot. I think if I was to, if you were to ask me if Chelsea could make one or two signings, where are they going to strengthen their team? I would not have said attack, right? Because we've seen that our attack seems to be okay, but it's where our defensive line, where Magda Eriksson is missing, and suddenly all hell breaks loose. We need a left back. Our left back is not conceding goals now, so they're dropping her, and it's this whole big saga happening in our defensive line. So Lauren James to Chelsea, it's very much possible. We've seen that she wants to come back, but I was wondering if Emma Hayes was thinking of signing a striker. And obviously, Lauren James is a steal for any team. Even if we have 6 strikers, Lauren James is definitely in there. She'll probably be in the top 4 in whatever team she goes. So I think if Chelsea sign up, no complaints from me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see that move, obviously. And it's very interesting to note that many times we forget about teams in the off season, but that's really where everything happens. That's where strategy starts. That's where signing starts. Everything begins there. I think Pernilla Harder began in the off season last year, and this is what she's produced for us in 1 year. So on the signing front, Lauren James for Chelsea, no complaints from me. As for Chelsea's season this far, obviously it's been a dream one. We've constantly talked about it. I seem to have mostly positive things to say for Chelsea just because of their performances. Obviously, every time a team steps out on the field, they always have spaces to improve on. And in the recent times with Magda's injury, we've seen defense is something we really need to fix in the summer. So I expect some defensive signings coming in. Having said that, this is, if there's any year that Chelsea could win most of the tournaments that they play in, it's got to be this year. And it's not a blind, passionate Chelsea fan saying this. It's a rational observer of women's football just by what they've been doing in tournaments. Obviously, in a tournament, anyone can knock out anyone. But yeah, the run that they've been on, the way Emma Hayes is leading the side, rotating players, revolving the team around Pernilla Harder at some times, around Fran Kirby at some times. I see this team doing great things.
Yeah, I think most people would kind of agree with what you said there. Just one quick last question on LJ. Can you see her actually starting up front, or can you see her playing in like a slightly different position, maybe just behind the striker or on the wing, just to try and fit her in? Or is it maybe easy to play up front, or what are your thoughts on how often she'd play maybe?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, at the present moment, I don't know where she'll fit in, right? Because we've got everything going for us. And last year, Beth England was PFA Player of the Year. And I said, surely Beth England's going to be seeing a lot of game time in this season. And she hasn't. She hasn't, because we made one signing and that turned everything around. So very well, if we sign Lauren James, everything could turn around. Sam Kerr could suddenly be on the bench. We don't know what to expect there. And I think that's the entire depth of Chelsea or of any big team or any strong team that starts winning things, is that you don't know where a person's going to slot in. And because we have so many good players and potentially LJ as well, they become opportunity changes or strategic changes, not changes on the basis of form, because we have a lot of people in form. It becomes who can play versus whom in what situation. So I think in that aspect, LJ could fit in everywhere depending on who is her one-on-one duel with, or what kind of position Chelsea is in at the table. Are we resting players? Are we not? All that will come into a factor, especially with Chelsea having the likes of Harder, Fran, Kirby, Sam Kerr, Leopold, Ingel G, like the list goes on. So it'll be quite interesting.
And that comment on screen there, I think a few of us have mentioned that maybe just a bit of a swap deal or something maybe. Let's bring Rahul in, obviously a City fan, but obviously writes about Man United in the past and other teams as well. First of all, how's the writing coming on with Rahul? Have you done anything since, or are you keeping yourself busy there?
I wanted to, but I got stuck with university work, so I had to pay attention to that. But
I understand. Yeah. Look, as a City fan, I think you're a couple of points behind Chelsea, aren't you? Can you see Chelsea slipping up? Can you see Chelsea slipping up the last game of the season in this?
No, I don't think so. I know that Reading have been, they've been the giant killers this season. They've been taking points off a few teams, with United obviously. And they seem to have this sort of rigidness where you can't break them down very easily. So you'll need to kind of work hard if you want your goals and everything. But I don't think this Chelsea team will have a problem because they with just not just with the squad but with the confidence they have coming into this game, right? You're in a Champions League final. You've mostly wrapped up the league. A point will do. If you end up drawing, you still win the league. So that, and I think it should be a routine victory for Chelsea. Having said that, it's still football, so you never know what can happen.
At the start of the season, would you have been happy with second? Obviously, after the first few games, going into Christmas time, I'm sure you would have been happy second place. But would Man City fans kind of see second place as a failure? I mean, me and Natalie, if we had finished second at the start of the season, we would have been happy with that. But obviously, City's been around a lot longer. What are your thoughts on that one, mate?
I feel like obviously you want to be top of the league, right? If you're any team, regardless of if you're Chelsea or United or City or Arsenal, your aim has to be to finish top of the league. But the way the league progressed, I think it was very clear from the beginning that because we draw points very early, Chelsea had the onus to kind of go on and give us the competition. And I mean, I'm still a little bit, the 2-2 game that we had with Chelsea, I think we could have very well won that game. Maybe we should have. But I feel like in the end, considering, what has happened in the league and everything, I feel like it's a pretty good position to finish in. It just, it has taught us a lesson that next season we have to try to sort of break that mental block and beat Chelsea, because I think we haven't beaten them in like the last 6 games that we've played against each other. So I feel like when you can cross that mental block, then it can possibly elevate you to the position you want to be in.
Yeah. There's a question on screen. I don't know if anyone can answer it, but my interpretation would be it would go on the matches when they play each other. But I'm not aware of a playoff game. But having said that, I think I'm going more.
Or would it be on goals scored?
It comes on goals scored. Yeah, it's on goals scored. Yeah.
And then goals away.
Yeah, we go on goals scored, goals against, and then it would probably go down to the team. And then I know Chelsea's won one, haven't they?
So let's bring a United supporter in then. Come and give me some joy here, because I can't keep on listening to these guys talk about how happy they are. We've got the Everton match coming up, so we'll have a bit of a preview discussion there regarding the Everton game coming up. Look, we're coming off the back of 3 wins. The last game was a bit more tougher than we liked. I think this game will be even tougher. We know Everton will probably want to lay down a marker for next season. Plus, we haven't got the best relationship with Everton at all. But yeah, what are your thoughts on coming into this match? Are you confident, or what are you thinking?
Well, look, the most important match that we have is the FA Cup, and this match, I think it will be a feeling of end of season game with no pressure, nothing really to achieve except a good feeling in the end of the season. If it will be a free game with no pressure, we can see. Maybe you can see our players really get the best out of them. I don't know. I see it like a game of a lot of goals. Hopefully, more for us, less for them. But it could be 4-3 or something like that. It really will be, because both teams have enough talent, and we have more, of course. But I think it's just all about finishing the season, on a high, and be ready and focused for the FA Cup, because you have to keep a certain level of tension in the squad for the game, because next season we don't know how the squad will look like, but the FA Cup could be a good opportunity to take a title, and eyes are really mostly to that game, but we do have a lot of things to achieve from the Everton game, mainly psychological, mental, from the mental aspect, to feel that the season ended good, and to be ready, sharp and in good mood for the Leicester game.
100%.
Yeah, I can say you heard him mention like a 4-3 scoreline there. That's not one that we usually predict. I mean, I think we won 3-2 pretty much this time last year. One of our last games of the season last season. Can you see loads of goals in this one, Nat?
Potentially, yeah, because I think we're sort of in a bad. We've won, and the Spurs game was really good.
Yeah.
But like you said about the Bristol game, it wasn't as good, and Bristol see themselves as unlucky. I know they hit the post or something, and Mary made some good saves. And you would think against a team like that, we should be really putting them away. But I'm glad that we got the 3 points. I think, she says Jane Ross changed the game. For me, it's more Jackie. But Press really stepped up. I thought I saw some good opportunities from Press, and I think she's playing a lot better. It's just a shame it's come now. At the end, if it had come a bit earlier, who knows this form, but it's what it is. Everyone's playing now, and I think you sort of touched on it, John. There is a little rivalry between us and Everton, and obviously it stems from when Willie left, and they don't think he left. I don't even know. I think it's all sort of thing like water under the bridge now, and we don't really talk about it, but it is still that little, let's go and beat him, So I know that will be on their mind, that they like to beat Everton. So I think that. But other than that, I'm a bit nervous. I'm a bit worried. I think if we, don't win this, I think like what Yehuda says, we're going into it a bit more negative. Let's end the season on a high. But I do agree with him in that the most important one is the FA Cup. I think we get through this in the quarters, and then they do like that little round robin tournament that we saw. City ended up winning, but they can't postpone it. No, it's our game, mate. For me, the FA Cup is the most important. I'd rather win that than win against Everton. Not in any way, but I feel like what Yehuda says, if we can start off well, and then we have that little FA Cup thing around December, November, you can win a title early. And then go into a break with a title in your back pocket with confidence, coming back knowing that you've won the FA Cup. And I wasn't mad for it. I'm not mad for it. I like to see competitions completed, but it is what it is. No one expected this, and I'm sure the real FA Cup will then start and it'll be normal. So we'll finish this, and then you're going to play the normal one in normal time, in January and stuff. But yeah, I just think I said it sort of when we got beat by Arsenal, and even after when we got beat by Brighton, we need to win every game now. There's no kind of, this and that, and we've got to just win, and take that momentum into next year. And I definitely want the FA Cup because that'll have fans back, and we deserve it, man, John. We deserve it. That's what I'm gonna say.
I agree with what you guys are saying regarding the FA Cup being the most important. And again, that you said what I've been saying for the last few weeks on here about we need to win every game now, get those 3 points every game, so at least we can finish the season on a high, and we can turn around and say that we've only missed top 3 by 3 points as opposed to 6 points. I think to do that against Everton, we probably do need to play a strong team. I don't think we can make too many changes. Not that we've got many players on the bench to actually put on. We haven't got that many options, have we? But I think the one question I'm going to ask you, Nat, is Leah Galton. Would you start her just to kind of help us get that win, or it's a big risk, isn't it, with the
FA Cup? But actually, she didn't play versus Bristol, did she?
No.
No. And I think it's because of that pitch. I think she doesn't like to put, but you're at home, your surroundings. Obviously I wanted to play in the FA Cup. I don't think she'll start her, but I think she'll bring her on earlier, maybe, than what she did versus Spurs. So I think potentially on the 60 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes, I think she'll bring her on. I know that, Vicky sort of said something there, interesting to see if Mary starts. We didn't see Mary in training for us. Casey said that we've got everyone fit, nothing's changed, so who knows. But I definitely like to see maybe Rambo in the FA Cup. But even though we've just said FA Cup's more important, I do think that they do, your second keeper deserves to play in the cup games. And Leicester have just come up, so they're going to be a tough side. But Championship at the end of the day, and we, should have beaten them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I want to hear Rada's thoughts on the last game of the season. Then, so Man United against Everton, but also Chelsea's got an important game as well. Which way do you kind of see those matches going?
Yeah, Everton is a great side. They're probably the leaders of the chasing pack. And last weekend, obviously they gave Arsenal a tough run. I think Arsenal lucky to get that stoppage time penalty, and I really felt for Everton because you see the names on their team, and it's not short of any sort of player investment. We've got Haley Raso up top. The new entrants within this year. We've got Bill Scott on loan there, so we've got experience there as well. I think it's going to come down to you asked. I think you asked someone if there would be goals. I think there's definitely going to be goals because Everton are going to be going for goals. So you have to. I think United is going to have to match that for sure. This United-Everton matchup, obviously, the last match they all happen at the same time. All the matches sucks because we can't watch all the games then. But yeah, this one's going to be to keep an eye on. Obviously, not for Champions League qualification, not for winning, not for relegation, but for momentum going into that FA Cup, which is very crucial for United, as you mentioned earlier. So I think this game, obviously, for all United fans, is going to be a treat to wrap up the WSL, to take some momentum, take some learning from this entire season, moving into a new tournament, and actually making an impact there where we can say, hey, this is the team that we have, and this is the potential that we can reach. So I think that matchup is going to be interesting. As for the Chelsea-Reading game, look, I think it's fitting that on a United podcast, I tell you how good Reading can be. Yeah, they beat United in red hot form. So there's no way we're taking it easy. I think Chelsea, Sam Kerr has mentioned this is a cup final for them. They're not looking at points or if we can draw or what's the goal difference or goals for against. It's a cup final. We're going for 3 points. It could be a 1-0, it could be a 5-0, it could be we could lose. But the fact is that this game is like a final. And my eyes are definitely going to be on this game, especially because we just cannot underestimate anything. Brighton really drew with Chelsea, drew with City, beat Chelsea, beat United, almost had an upset versus Reading the last weekend. So, Reading, again, Farrell Williams last game of the WSL, they've got everything to play for, nothing to lose, and they're going to come out really strong. So, I'm hoping that Chelsea take the title. Obviously, City have been second in the WSL for 3 years running. I'm hoping that they make it a 4th year. Sorry, Rahul, but my team's on top, so I would like them to take the title. But it'll be a game to watch.
Yeah, I think we'd like City to finish second as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, coming at Christmas time, we was giving Emma. I'm not too sure if Emma's still in the comments. I think he's probably on the train somewhere. But we were, I was quite open. I was giving Emma and some City fans a bit of banter because Chelsea was always the one likeliest to catch us at that time. Emma's in the comments, thank you. But yeah, absolutely, it's been a derby. I genuinely thought as well. We was there. City was there to be caught this season. They've done extremely well to not only overtake us, but to keep up with Chelsea, and for City to actually take it to the last game of the season compared to where they were back in November, December. I think you've got to take your hat off to them because you've got to be consistent to do that. Rahul, how do you think the final game of the seasons will play out?
I think for us, again, it's one of those where you just have to win, right? I don't think there's anything to do with obviously we won't be thinking about what Chelsea are doing. It's just about getting 3 points. Still very, very sad about the Chloe Kelly injury, but we'll probably have to get someone to play for them. Probably be Janine Becky. But I think it's just one of those where you play for the 3 points. If you get the 3 points, you hope that maybe Chelsea drop points somewhere, and you can get a good result. And even if you don't, I think just like you said, for United as well, just to end the season on a high, with a win to try and then put your focus on the FA Cup. And also we have the fact that you were able to get Champions League football alongside, finishing second in the league. I remember in the earlier parts of the season, December, January, there were a lot of people talking about how United could potentially leap into second place and we would only get third. But as John mentioned, we did well to catch up with Chelsea. In the end, falling just a little bit short, which is fun. I think I think the Premier League title makes up for it. But to be fair, it's just one of those where you fell just short, but it's okay. We go again next season and we try to kind of topple that domination.
I want to bring in the quotes shortly of what Emma Sanders asked Casey, because I think we've got a real couple of good talking points here that we've been talking about for like the past week or two. And well done to Emma for asking the questions that people want to hear, that Man United fans want to hear, but also WSL fans want to hear. But before we just discuss that one, Nat, I just want to just hear Yehuda's thoughts on Chelsea and City. So where you live in Israel, are there many Chelsea and City fans, or is it more to do with, is it like Ireland and America, where it's all Liverpool and United? Is there many City Chelsea fans, or what's it like over there?
Strangely enough, in my city, which is not like, it's quite big, but not one of the biggest cities here, there is the Israeli city fan club. Like there is the dominant people of it are here. And Chelsea fans, no, don't. Personally, I don't know any Chelsea fan. City is unexpected, but yes, there is quite close to me. But no, not too many.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Football is that popular here yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah. So Yehuda, what is the rivalry like then? Is it good with the City fans? Do you have a lot of banter and stuff with them?
No, there is not really any. Just know them, and I know that they're here. The big guy of the fan club has a pizza place here. So occasionally, when I lived closer to there, I used to when I went to work, I used to go next to his pizza place every day. So I occasionally throw in some comment here or there, but it was everything regarding the men's team about 4 or 5 years ago. It was, but he had more to laugh about me than the other way around, so it wasn't too much fun. But no, not too much connection. Real one.
Fair enough.
I will work on it. I will work on it. I will work next year that we will be above them in the table, but I will work on it.
I want to bring in these quotes that we've seen on Twitter today. So there's a couple, so we'll do it individually, and I'll just kind of leave you with this one for a little bit. So I'll read the one quote out, we'll discuss it, and then we'll read the second quote out. So Emma asked Casey, do we have the right resources to bridge the gap? Presumably to make the top 3 next season. And Casey replied, I believe with the conversations that we've had over the last 2 weeks, I'm confident this team will improve in the infrastructure and investments, or it will be there. So this is something that we've been discussing, isn't it? We know that the budget, and we know about the training facilities, and we know all this kind of stuff. I understand that Casey's arms are tied a little bit because she doesn't want to say anything negative about, she doesn't want to say anything negative about her bosses. And I think at this stage, that's kind of a generic answer. But it's still a positive. It's saying that it's kind of there. So what are your thoughts on that one?
Joel Glazer released his statement around the same time as that these comments came out. And obviously, I don't know if it is a true statement, but they said we know we need to invest in Old Trafford. So for me, I think they need to invest in not only Old Trafford, but in Carrington. It's something that I've been saying since we formed the team. There's a statement that I've put out. When we formed the team, they said, the women's team, and it said, and they will train at the newly developed Cliff when it's redeveloped. And obviously they went into LSV because there's no room in Carrington. Cliff wasn't good enough. And they said, but we're going to develop it. So here's us thinking, yeah. They never put any, no money's been put into it as far as I'm aware. People who have been recently said it's not that good. It's again, like Old Trafford, it's falling apart. They've not put any kind of resource into it. And then we're in a situation where the pandemic, what happened in the winter with the frozen pitches, this and that, and they're having to be in a tent, and we know that there's stuff about we can't change bubble. I don't even mind that they're in a tent. It's just the fact that when everything then goes back to normal, where they're going to be, because in 2018 there was no room in Carrington, so don't tell me there's room now. And somehow they've got them in. Fair play, it's good. You got to shout them out. But if in 2018 when they said they were going to redevelop the cliff, they had done it and put money in and started building, then we would have been fine during this pandemic. Obviously, she's had chats, and I think that hopefully the videos come out. It just talked. She was chatting to the big bosses. So, someone's going to come in and replace Ed. We all know that in the summer or whenever. But for me, whoever comes in, or now that they've released a statement, probably the second one in the whole how many years. 16 years, and we've had about 2 statements from the Glazers, but now they're saying, no, we're going to communicate. So it's just about, voices getting heard, Casey's voice definitely getting heard. But, that's why I like that Emma does these questions and asks them, because it's, these are questions that need to get asked, that obviously we want the best, and I know that their hands are tied, but we want to know the truth, not just the nice, convenient kind of, we're supported. No, I want to know really, and that might be, then difficult for her, obviously. But, these Glazers, it's people have had enough. And you need to start doing what taking our money instead of putting it in your pocket and put it back into the club. So that's my thoughts on them. That comment on the training ground. Listen, I don't either. Obviously, Casey's got to say what she's got to say. He's going to say, the Joe Glazer's going to say what he's going to say.
I was just going to ask Nat, actually, how much do you trust the Glazers?
Nothing. Not at all. Like I said, the statement came out in 2018. They are going to play at the redeveloped cliff. It's 2021 now. You know what I'm saying? I know that the pandemic's happened, but, if they put money in when they said, we wouldn't have had this problem. And I'm not saying, it's all on the LSV pitches or it's all on this pitches, but we had loads of injuries at the start when we were moving between pitches. That's all I can say, man.
Have you guys seen much of the protests that's been happening this week over in India and Israel regarding Man United fans around Old Trafford? Have you seen that on the news? Is it big news over there? Is it at all?
Yes. It came everywhere, even here in the sports, in the main sports website, newspapers and everything. It was heavily mentioned, and now English football is very popular here. And when we talk about the name Manchester United, it's always interesting here as well. And all the reporters on Twitter and everything, it was well known over here.
The second quote of today, which I think is probably the more interesting one, because it's to do with our players and debate that have been going around for a couple of weeks. It was about Amy Turner, Martha Harris and Jackie regarding contract extensions. The reply was they're all in conversations that are ongoing. So I think that was more to do with Amy Turner and Martha Harris. But then the Jackie one, which is obviously the most interesting one, because we've been discussing this as a fan base for the past week. Jackie will be a Man United player next season. She's still in contract, and the rest are ongoing conversations. So to me, that was quite blunt, as if he was kind of angry. Now, I know that's before we came online. It says, we've been looking forward to seeing the actual video of this. And I think, again, though, that is just a generic answer. She can't really turn around and say much more than that, because she's under contract. She's not going to say, we're going to sell her or move her on, or she's not going to say, yes, she's definitely going to be whatever. I think it's a generic answer, isn't it? But I'd rather hear that than anything else, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at the way she spoke about LJ when she sort of said, LJ, as far as I'm aware, is a Man United player until I hear different. Whereas she said Jackie Groningen will be here next season. There's no kind of... So even though she's both saying she's saying they're both staying, it's just, it was different in the way that she said it. And people might say, oh, you're going into it too much. No. The way that she says things, you've got to go into it. So she's saying that she's here next season. There's bang, that's it, over, conversation. I mean, you know, we all got concerned why she's not playing. She's our best midfielder, in my opinion. Why is she on the bench all the time? And then, you know, we're seeing strapping on her leg, but then she's coming on. So if she's good enough to come on, she must be fit enough to start. And to be honest, when Hayley Ladd signed a contract, they both signed a contract. They both joined at the same time. So why is one signing a contract but not the other? Yeah. It just, something didn't feel right, John. So obviously she just didn't like that week. I'm guessing Emma even went down that line of Jackie. So she just cut that one off. But it's good. That's why I want to see the video. I want to see like how she reacted. Did she snap back? I heard potentially she did snap back. But the thing is, though, this is it. There's interest. We as our fan base, we want to know, and that's why I like that Emma goes in and just asks the questions that you want to know. And you know, there's I can see John saying, what did you say about Amy? Amy signed a 1-year deal last year, so obviously her contract will be up. But then her, Martha Harris, and Jess Sigsworth all have an extension. So it's up to the club whether they want to extend it, I think, or probably both extend it. So she's in negotiations whether those three, I'm guessing, will sign the extensions or sign new contracts. But we're coming to that point where who's staying, who's going, what's our squad going to look like next season? It's the last, you know, we've not got anything to play for. I know Chelsea and City do, but you know, we're thinking next year, what are we going to do? What players are we going to have? I saw something that said, you know, we need 4 players that are of top quality. She talked last week about signing experience who know how to win. But for me, I think if you had Champions League, that would make that easier. So who are you going to get? You know, there's more talk of extensions late in the year, potentially. I don't know. I like the questions that Emma asked. She gave the answers. I actually finished like the answers as well. But obviously she doesn't like the questions. But I think you're a manager of Man United. People want to know, and they're going to ask you. And I think we're going to start seeing even more questions like this because there's going to be even more interest with the Sky deal and all that, and people, you know, and especially even like we were saying about the Glazers and how it's gone all around the world. Because people are now looking even more. And I know on this channel, I'm sorry, I'm going to go off, but I know they didn't really like the fact that the match was postponed. But for me, I think I like that it was postponed. The match was called off because it's sent a message in a way. I'm not saying I want every match to be called off, but it sent a message. And, you know, now it's led to them coming out and actually releasing a statement saying they are interested in the football club. Well, in the way, Musk then hit back and said, well, action speaks louder than word. This is the first time you spoke to us in 16 years. Go and show. And, you know, I think investment in the training, investment in the stadia, and investment in all your teams.
That's what you said, isn't it? All your teams. Yeah, absolutely. Yehuda, Natalie's mentioned a few players, and the comments have mentioned players about who could potentially leave this summer. I'm sure there's not many that you'd be happy to see leave because obviously we're fans of the players. But is there anyone that maybe you're thinking could leave this summer purely because they haven't played much, or is there anyone that jumps out to you?
First of all, I think it will be the most interesting summer in terms of transfer rumors that we had. It started building up already. I'm worried most about LJ. Maybe because it sounds like the most realist option. I don't think Jackie will leave. I think he will stay. But LJ leaving, I think it definitely will be bad for us because I think you know, she's already settled here. She already knows the system. I think it's the best place for her to develop. I don't think in Chelsea she will be, you know, the main player or anything close to that. And yes, there is a certain attachment to her, you know, that you don't want to see her develop in other place and especially opponents. So it seems like the most realistic option. I don't think that there will be too many players leaving. I don't think maybe it will be just LJ. from like the top players. And of course, Tobin and Kristen, that we are not sure exactly which way it's going to go. I'm still in the illusion / hope that they will stay, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, LJ, I'm hoping that maybe somehow she will stay in the end, because I think she started our way. She started from the beginning of the way with us, and I think it will be best for both sides to continue the journey together. I don't think her going to Chelsea will benefit her, especially in the short term, 1 year, 2 years. I don't think she will be very influential there. Or maybe I'm just convincing myself that it's better for her to stay with us. But yeah, that's the one that I hope will not eventually happen. That will hurt a little bit more than others.
I think there's some names there. Oh, I've got an echo. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Yeah, I think it's going to be like the players that haven't played much this season. We saw it last season, didn't we? Like with Lisiana not getting much game time, she went, and unfortunately Amy Palmer, and there's other players as well. If you're not getting the game time, then I think those are the players that may need to worry a little bit. Katie Zellam's name's popped up as well. I think that's it's another shout as well. If you need to freshen up that midfield, then obviously someone's got to go in. And it could be an awkward time for United fans over this summer. We've seen it the first and second summer. It's not been nice. There's been a couple of surprises in there, and I'm sure there'll be a couple of nasty surprises this summer as well. But fans are calling for Katie to be ruthless, and unfortunately, that's what she has to do. Ryder, talk to us about Chelsea. Some of them, what are you expecting? Anyone rumoured to be going out, or who would you like to bring in, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we definitely need defensive, a little bit of defensive shape up there. I mean, if we're expecting LJ, then we better start prepping for that as well. And it's interesting that Yehuda mentioned that it might not be the best move for LJ. I think that Niamh Charles as well. She was with the relegated Liverpool last summer, right? And she came into Chelsea and didn't play for most of the season. But the fact is that she trains every day with these players. And Emma Hayes doesn't pick people who can become replacements. She picks a person and trains them to become a replacement. So it's not a case of LJ, you come in because I see that you can replace Fran Kirby. It's a case of LJ, you come in, I see potential, and I'm going to train you to become a replacement of Fran Kirby. Because when, for example, when Maren Mjelde got injured, a season-ending injury, Niamh Charles was ready to step up. Jess Carter was ready to step up. There was not even one game of hesitation there. She came in. Jess Carter played 2 legs versus Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg played 2 legs versus Bayern Munich. I mean, you've seen the kind of performance that she's put out. So I think anyone coming into Chelsea or City or Arsenal or United for that matter, it's a question of training them behind the scenes and then making them ready for that spotlight. So in terms of LJ coming in or any other attacking player, when I say that, we have enough attackers, if an attacker comes in, it's because she is grooming them to replace someone who might leave in 2022-23. And another thing is Chelsea do not have this big discussion of, oh my God, are they going to sign extensions? Are they not? Because players happily sign extensions. Like, why is that? One, because we're doing well. Secondly, we have guaranteed Champions League. But I feel really bad that there is this downward spiral that's happening in United, right? Where you're not qualifying for Champions League and you're struggling to keep players. You're struggling to keep players, then you're going to have to perform that much harder to qualify for the next Champions League. So I'm hoping you're able to get out of that rut. And Tobin and Kristen were those golden chances to get out of that rut. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So again, summer is going to be crucial for United. It's going to be crucial for Chelsea. I really want to see some defensive backing up there. But yeah, as I mentioned before, the game, really the mind games start in the summer and the on-the-field games start much later.
I'll answer Emma's question in a second in the comments. What about players going out then, Ryder? Because obviously, I don't think you need obviously, with what you're achieving this season, you don't need too many changes. But I'm sure you will have to make room for 2 or 3 players. Can you see anyone leaving who's still a good player that maybe United could have, or an Everton or a Tottenham, or like that kind of next level down? Can you see anyone moving that way?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. It's always hard to think about this, but I think I can possibly see players going out on loan. Obviously, I don't think anybody would want to leave that kind of atmosphere that Emma Hayes is creating. But you have to then first look at your personal goals, and then look at, you have to look at, let's say, even Magdalena Eriksson. She was doing fine in Sweden, but she said, I need a new challenge. And then, she came over to England. Harder went over to Germany. So it's about that personal growth as well. Yeah, it's very interesting. Like Jessie Fleming hasn't seen too much game time, and she has almost as many international caps as, I think, Magdalena Eriksson. So you can see the difference in international versus club performance, right? So Jessie Fleming could potentially go out on loan, maybe even for an entire year. But England's confidence has been low. I know there's interest, to pick her up as well. We might see a Beth LJ swap again. I don't know how that plays out, but yeah, obviously, if we sign players, we have to make way, and that'll just come with due process. I think Emma Hayes has been here for enough years now to know how to rotate and what to bring in when you see someone slipping away.
I'm going to answer this one on screen. So, if Zellum is to go in the summer, how would I feel about it? I would feel a bit disappointed, if I'm honest, because I feel like that should be going on a bit of a negative. Dropping down from top back in January down to fourth, it would kind of feel like that. She's kind of left on a downer. I do think that maybe she isn't first choice in the midfield three anymore. I think it's been very tough for her to maintain good form because of other players basically being on good form. And I'm on about Jackie, Tooney and Hayley Ladd. I think those three players have been, when we was at our best, we had those three players in there. And I appreciate that form changes all the time, but I certainly wouldn't like to see her leave the club unless if something's going on behind the scenes that we're not aware of. Regarding just purely on talent, I think she should be in the squad. Regarding the captaincy, Galton's an interesting shout, but I think it's one of them where I wouldn't want it to be a captain, because it's like when Wayne Rooney became a captain, he kind of lost his own game a little bit. I just want to leave Galton alone, just carry on do what he's doing. So I think United fans would probably lean, I think a lot of United fans would lean more towards Amy Turner if she was to stay, or Jackie Groden. She's got a lot of fans out there. I guess it depends.
Mary.
What was that? Sorry, who there?
I will give it to Mary.
Mary, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well,
I think she's material, yeah. I think she has the kind of confidence, the kind of swagger, that I think she could be a very good captain. I think it sits well on her.
You very often see her in huddles talking to the team, so I think she's probably got a bit of respect there. I mean, Nat, do you want to just jump on that?
Yeah, Zellum was to go. I mean, I've seen Bo Reese as a potential replacement. Yep, that's something that I can see happening. And yeah, I don't know. Mary is a shout, because I don't feel like Mary or Hayley Ladd or someone like that. Maybe Hayley's too quiet, but the voice that I hear the most is Mary's. When I hear shouting on the pitch, it's always Mary. Even when the fans were there, I remember Mary shouting. So for me, why not Mary? But I would like to see it being Amy Turner, like you said. But then we could get another defender, and Amy Turner might not be first choice. I think that's the issue that we've had with Zellum.
Yeah,
captain, but she's not first choice. So do you pick a captain who is first choice, or you just pick a captain because they're sort of like that leader? I suppose it's another debate kind of thing that we definitely have to have. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I have to wait and see.
The Hull City, the summer signings. Who do you see staying? Who do you see leaving? Any rumours about players coming in?
I don't think I've seen anything just yet on Twitter, but I do know about. I have heard about Sam Ewers leaving, going back to the NWSL. I think there's a lot of talk about Roosevelt leaving because he doesn't. I don't know. I feel very bad because it sort of hasn't worked out, because I love seeing her play, but in some way, because of the fact that Caroline Weir was brilliant this season, has been very good, and with someone else like Sam Ewers, I think Roosevelt has also been a little bit unlucky with injuries here and there. I don't want her to leave because it's just it seems very unfair that way. But I think Sam Ewers is leaving. The rumors are getting stronger. I think someone mentioned before that she'll go before the FA Cup games happen, or Olympics. I think that was what I read. And Rose Lavelle I think Abigail will stay because she's a regular. She plays every game. I think, and she also signed a 2.5 year contract, so there's no rush for her to go back, join the teammates. And but I don't think we'll see many people leaving. I feel like, again, Gemma Bonner was one of them. She got very unlucky with injury. She wasn't getting the game time, so she left the club. And I feel like everyone else who's there is a good backup replacement or someone like that. I feel like if we were to bring in someone who could, maybe give competition to Kira Walsh would be very good because I feel like Kira Walsh is that one of a kind player we have in the team. When she's out of the team, we don't know who's going to replace her because there's no one who can play like her. You know, what she does, no one else can do that in the team. So I feel like maybe someone for her, not someone to kind of replace her in the team, but someone who can act as a strong backup and give a competition, make her even better. That sort of a person. And I think it's pretty settled. I read a lot of banter on Twitter that they want to replace Ellen White, but I don't know what will happen with Ellen White because I these people hate when she's outside, but I don't know. They want someone more. So let's see what happens with that.
What about Greenwood? Is she going to change things again, or she will stay one team more than 1 year?
Sorry, Ellen White.
I said, what about Greenwood? Is she going to stay?
No, I think Greenwood's going to stay because I think Greenwood has a lot of utility to our team. So I don't see why she's going to be. In the team play centre back, full back. She's very good with what she's doing. She's had a great season for India. I think no chance. I think Greenwood will stay. So.
This time she will stay second year.
Yeah.
We got Emma teasing us in the comments, but she's not letting on who's going to be. I think we'll have to send a little message a bit later. Just before we go, I would just like to hear from Yehuda, Rada, and Rahul just regarding what it's been like supporting an English club this season. Obviously, being outside of the UK, so obviously sometimes like the broadcasting side of things can be a bit awkward, like to watch certain games. Obviously, we've got the FA player. I don't know how accessible it is for you guys, but I think that's kind of what you watch the most, isn't it? I believe. But let's start off with Yehuda. I mean, what kind of experiences have you had this season following United?
Well, the women's thing is quite challenging sometimes to watch the games. Yes, mostly the FA player, but there are some games in the FA player that you could only see in the UK. So, yeah, I had a VPN for a certain time and I could get around that. But when that ended, some games was very challenging. The big game against City, Chelsea, etc., you don't have it in the FA player here. You have to look for stream, and you are in the grace of the stream gods, and sometimes they get stuck, and sometimes you don't really find a good clear stream, so you have to always look, and you can enjoy watching the full game without getting stuck or looking for a new stream every 15-20 minutes. So yes, I think the whole maybe the most of the games I did watch, but some games that there were some games that they couldn't catch them. The FA player, of course, it's not the best place to watch football. Like the game against Bristol, you don't have replays. You can't see again the things that happen. In the goal, I was really curious to see who touched last. Who scored the goal, and you can't. You have to wait sometime after the game to find the highlights and see what happened. And if you take your eyes off the screen for a second and something happens, then it's like the moment is gone.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's not the best, but overall it was okay. I hope next year with the new broadcast agreement it will be better. But yeah, the big games, it's kind of you know, not fun to look for all kinds of screens, and more often than not, I missed a few important goals. So, so that part wasn't quite fun.
Vida, is that pretty much the same where you are?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's like bittersweet for me personally. All the men's matches are definitely on TV. They've got proper streams. Any of the women matches, no, not at all. So any women's football fan has a VPN ready to go, always scouring for links and all. I think that's a pretty standard thing for anyone overseas. We don't have TV deals for women's football, which again, the World Cup was the only TV deal we have. Thank for that. Thank God for that we had that. So that I think needs to change. Secondly, obviously the timings are different here in India. We're 5.5 hours or 4.5 hours ahead of you. So any match at noon over there is 5:30 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. here, which actually works out in my favor. Personally, I prefer it because if I woke up on a Sunday and at 12 noon I started watching football, my parents would kill me. So I can get up and I can have 2 meals and do some work and then sit down in the evening, say, okay, I'm going to watch 3-4 hours of football right now. They're okay with that. Even the midweek fixtures, like 2 days ago on Wednesday 10 p.m. was a Chelsea fixture. So for me, that was perfect. I finished all my work, I finished my dinner and like whatever, said good night, and then I happily sat and watched the Chelsea match. I watched the Champions League match with Rahul after that. So a little bit late night. If your body clock is set that way, I think I prefer it over having to substitute that for stuff during my day because that would just get messy. So yeah, that way I think it's been great for us and the timings suit me personally. But again, hoping for legal streams with replays, with highlights, with some analysis mid-match, post-match, pre-match. That would be really special. I kind of go on YouTube to watch that the day after. So that would be something I'd like to see very soon, especially because it's just so crucial that one piece of content can get 5 people to watch a game, and those 5 people will get 25 people to watch a game. So we really need those TV deals coming through. But yeah, apart from that, I don't think it's changed much over COVID because it's not like we attended stadium matches at any time. It was us sitting on our couch, watching it with friends, discussing it over text or over call, whatever it is. So yeah, that way it's been pretty simple.
And one last question.
I would expect MUTV to broadcast all the women's game.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason why not. I think what do you say?
I said I don't think in India we'll have a channel just yet for just women's football, because I mean it feels bad to say it, but there's been so many people who inquire to the broadcaster in India is called Star Sports, and they have a separate channel for the Premier League. Yeah, Karthik, but it's just like once you get accustomed to watching late night games, we can never go back. For someone like me who's been doing it for a very long time, it just seems like routine. You watch like games at 1 o'clock at night and you don't feel anything. So that's it. But like I said, there's a certain broadcaster in India for the Premier League, and they made a separate channel for the Premier League itself. But when people inquire to them about maybe a separate channel for the women's game, they kind of ignore those messages, which is very unfortunate. But I hope that very soon they can have sort of a new channel for the women's game, and if that happens, it will also help generate a lot of money, because I think in India a lot of people will be willing to watch. Even if you're not watching the game, you just put it on in the background and it's going on in your ears. Like you're watching it. If there's a goal, you get more involved and all of that. So I feel like that would be a good step, but I don't know. I can't.
Guys, thank you very much for coming on. We need to get some predictions, but the time is ticking on. So very quickly, Natalie, we'll start off with yourself. Obviously, the Everton game, and who do you think is going to win the league? Which one? Which one? This one or this one?
I think Chelsea's going to win the league, and I think we will win 4-1.
Okay. Yeah, I'd take that, to be honest. Absolutely. Look, I think the only good thing about it, City won the league, is the fact that we've had so many arrogant Chelsea fans, and I'm not talking about yourself, Vardy. definitely not. I'm talking about the people in the comments and the people that we see on Twitter all day long. It would be nice to discuss some of them up, but I still prefer Chelsea to win, of course. Yehuda, I think you said something like 4-3. Are you sticking with that one?
Yeah, I'm sticking with that one. 4-3. And yes, Chelsea, I think, yes, we want to, we prefer Chelsea, but realistically, I think this is also the sensible option. I don't see any scenario when they don't take the championship.
Yeah, I agree with Vicky in the comments.
The Champions League final as well.
Yeah, well, do you want to come back on that one, Rada? I mean, can you see you winning the Champions League as well?
Yeah, you have to back your team. I mean, there's a reason that 2 teams make it to the final, right? It's because they both can win that, and there's a road to the final, and there's 2 teams that make it there. So I think definitely 16th May, it's going to be a 50-50 battle. Both teams are excellent. Both teams have tight schedules. Barcelona as well, incredible team. They're on their own, and we're going to have a new Champions League winner. So even if Chelsea lose, there's a little bit of a win there for everyone watching women's football. I think that's a step forward. But definitely backing Chelsea for the Women's Champions League, for the Men's Champions League, for the Men's FA Cup, for the Women's WSL. A lot going to Chelsea. It's a good time to be blue, but I'm lucky that I'm with United fans, so everyone is against Man City right now. But yeah, I think Chelsea winning the league on Sunday as well.
Well, do you want to finish up?
Yeah, I think they deserve it. There's no reason for me to, kind of say they can win the league. I would obviously like it, but it's just one of those where the odds are very low, so you don't think. I think it's like Chelsea deserve it, and like I said in one of the videos I made that I back Chelsea to win the Champions League as well, because you can never call a one-off tie, and as good as Barcelona have been, I feel like it's just one of those where individual quality could be the key, and while they have the likes of Lika Martin and Tony Hermoso, Chelsea got their own Frank Kirby, Sam Kerr. It's going to be a good game, but for this Sunday, I think City to win their game, but I think Chelsea to win their game and win the league overall.
Thank you again for coming on. I know Karthik, I think he's got his show due on, so if you're interested in the men's football, please stay on this channel as well. All for United, he does the men's team and the women's team, so thank you, Karthik, for jumping in the comments tonight. Time for the rest of the weekend, so it's the Ben and Match show on Saturday. You'll have me with probably Anthony on the pre-match show and the halftime analysis on the Twitter Live. And then we've got 6 of us on the match reaction on Monday. There's plans all the way through now till next Friday. So it's going to be a massive week for us. Really busy. So please stay tuned to this channel, our new channel that will be out soon, and also our Twitter Live. If anybody wants to find anybody, you can see everybody's Twitter on the screen. And thank you for everybody for tuning in. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you, guys.
See you later. Bye.
Thank you.